Is Gervonta Davis the most dangerous pound-for-pound fighter today? Some of the greatest names in boxing seem to think so. It's no secret that Tank is one of the best boxers of our generation, but the real question is just how good is he? Fighters, legends, and former champions have weighed in on this. With an undefeated record of 30-0, including 28 vicious knockouts and a jaw-dropping 93% finishing rate, it's clear that being a judge in Gervonta's fights is about as useful as a prime minister in North Korea. After a masterclass performance against Frank Martin, where he retained the WBA lightweight title, the Baltimore native once again proved there's a massive gap between him and the rest of the contenders. But don't just take our word for it. Here's what other fighters think about Gervonta Davis. When you look at Gervonta's height of 5 foot 5 inches, it's easy to assume he might be better suited for a volleyball game on a table tennis court. But don't let his small stature fool you. He hits like a tank and leaves his opponents frozen like Elsa on the floor. Gervonta Davis has broken the common perception that smaller fighters don't pack the kind of knockout power that Deontay Wilder is known for. In fact, Tank is so powerful that fighters and journalists can't help but compare him to the legend himself, Mike Tyson. When a journalist brought up this comparison to the former baddest man on the planet, Tyson acknowledged Gervonta's potential and confidently stated that if Davis keeps fighting, he could become a legend.
I mean, what do you think about Tank? People comparing Tank Davis to you. I mean, what do you think about that?
Tank is a great fighter.
You think he's a great fighter? But what do you think about them comparing him to you? I mean, you're a legend, my friend.
Well, he'll be one too if he keeps fighting.
In another video, Iron Mike went even further, describing Tank as the greatest fighter right now.
I think Gervonta Davis is probably the greatest fighter around now.
Tyson also praised Davis's toughness, pointing out that Mario Barrios, one of Tank's opponents, is a very durable fighter.
Now, but he's got a tough fight coming up. You know, he's the top dog. There's no doubt about it. He showed that. But Barrios, he's a pretty good fighter. Last time I saw him fight, he was pretty durable.
But the thing is, being durable alone isn't enough when you're up against someone like Tank, who hits like a truck. Barrios learned this lesson the hard way during their encounter in the 11th round. What sets Davis apart is his blend of raw power and tactical awareness. He expertly fights on the back foot, using the ring's dimensions to his benefit. This synergy between power and strategy underpins his high knockout percentage. To build similar attributes, fighters should focus on drills that improve footwork for swift in and out movements, and deliver power shots on the heavy bag with attention to proper form and timing. Mike Tyson isn't the only boxing legend with admiration for Davis. His former rival, Evander Holyfield, also holds Tank in high regard. Holyfield has nothing but respect for the hard-hitting maestro, describing him as special, very technical, and equipped with excellent defense.
You know, Tank is different. Tank he Pernell Whitaker with power. And he got good defense. And he take a pretty good shot too. Like that. So
when asked about his favorite fighter, Holyfield confessed that Davis is one of them.
Gonna be different.
Evan, do you have any favorite fighters today that you enjoy watching?
Well, you know, Tank is one of them.
In another interview, the former cruiserweight champion expanded on his thoughts, explaining that Tank is not only powerful but also a highly skilled fighter. Holyfield emphasized that Tank possesses the full package, power and technique, which makes him an exceptionally dangerous opponent. Davis employs a deliberate approach, landing high-impact punches with a low output. This conserves energy and amplifies the effect of each strike, making it an ideal strategy for longer bouts. Fighters can develop this by prioritizing accuracy and purposeful striking during heavy bag training, ensuring every punch is impactful and precise. But technique and power aren't the only weapons in Gervonta's secret arsenal. His speed is on another level as well. So much so that even one of the greatest boxers of all time, Lennox Lewis, admitted he wouldn't spar with Tank because he's too fast for him. Of course, Lewis said this jokingly, as he's a retired heavyweight who hasn't fought in a long time. But the point stands, speed is one of Tank's key elements that give him the edge over his opponents. Davis's constant head movement serves as a dual purpose. It acts as a feint to confuse opponents and as a defensive mechanism to avoid strikes. His disciplined form ensures that his hands remain high, providing a safeguard against unexpected counters. Incorporating slip rope exercises and defensive shadow boxing into training can help boxers replicate this fluid head movement. There are fighters who check every box in terms of skills, yet lack the fire and heart to step into harm's way, often leaving fans less eager to watch them. However, that's not the case with Davis. The boxing great Oscar De La Hoya explained why Gervonta Davis is such a huge star. He elaborated that aside from being a very skilled fighter, Tank steps into the ring without a bulletproof vest or helmet, diving headfirst into brawls and delivering a spectacle for fans. Davis doesn't care if he gets hit as long as he's part of an exciting fight, and he does it in a way that makes people want to watch him.
I know, because Tank, like I said, is very skillful. He's a beast. He knows how to figure you out. But one thing about Tank, which I love, and this is why he's going to be great, because he fights. And when you fight, you're going to get hit. And when you fight, you're going to get hit and you might get knocked out. But that's the beauty about Tank.
That's why
he
they love
fights, and that's why they love him. That's a perfect example.
Right.
Tank Davis is a star.
De La Hoya isn't alone in holding this opinion. The former middleweight and light heavyweight champ Bernard Hopkins also praised Gervonta, saying he fights like an old-school boxer. Hopkins elaborated on how Tank drains his opponent's confidence by coming forward with an open guard, letting them land punches before dismantling them with his own arsenal. According to Hopkins, Tank is sneaky, powerful, and explosive, using all these attributes to his advantage.
Right. Tank carries the power. He's sneaky. Explosive.
Yeah.
You think you're doing something, and he rides off that overconfident, where now he recognized this old school.
He's so interesting
Baltimore, Maryland. He's so old school. Know what old school is?
Yeah.
Anybody that throwing punches is open to get hit. Anybody. And everybody that throw punches, you leave an opportunity. It's who get there first. It's like fencing. When you throw punches, no matter how straight, no matter how your stance are, when this becomes away from your body and things that you need to protect, the ribs, the chin,
There's always an opening.
it's always opening. Who get there first?
And Tank is so good at
Tank is so good.
Hopkins also explained that the Baltimore native is a master strategist and illusionist, setting traps and giving his opponents a false sense of security. And of course, Joe Rogan couldn't agree more, confirming that Davis has a ridiculous one-punch knockout power.
He shows you something that is like an illusion. Might not be the first time once he tried you and you go for it, but it's coming. And that's how he set you up. He set traps.
Yeah, he sets traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too.
Speaking of Joe Rogan, he explained what makes Gervonta Davis so unique as a fighter. Rogan pointed out that Davis throws very few punches in the opening rounds, using this time to analyze his opponent's strengths and weaknesses. He lures them into a false sense of security, waiting for them to open up, and when they do, he lands nuclear shots that send them straight to oblivion.
He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Tank's mastery of feints enables him to read his opponent's reactions, revealing openings for devastating counters. His exceptional timing and spatial awareness result in powerful, well-placed counterattacks. Sparring with a focus on counterpunching and practicing special counter drills against preset combinations are essential for developing this skill. Davis patiently studies his opponent, using feints to draw reactions and expose weaknesses. This methodical approach often results in fight-ending strikes. Fighters can improve their observational skills by reviewing opponent footage to identify patterns and tendencies, and applying this knowledge during sparring sessions to test their adaptability and timing. According to the boxing legend Roy Jones Jr., Tank Davis is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, though at the same time, one of the least respectful.
Tank Davis, one of the best ones out there. Is what they don't know, gets less respect for it, but one of the best ones out there. Now his mouth a little different, you know what I'm saying? He's a different kind of character when it comes to the mouth. Yeah. Because that's where he's from. But he's really one of the pound-for-pound, the best ones of the coop.
The former 4-division world champion noted that while some boxers can either punch or box, Gervonta can do both. Jones highlighted how some fighters possess knockout power but lack the technique, while others have technique but not the power. Tank, however, has mastered both.
To me, he can punch, but he also can box. You understand me? Some that can box can't punch. Some that can punch can't box. He can box, he can punch, he can move laterally, he can do it left side, right side, he can do whatever he needs to do as a southpaw to get the job done. And that's saying a lot, because not many guys can do that today.
Jones Jr. further explained how Davis fights like a chess player in the ring. He praised Tank's decision and patience, comparing him to a predator waiting for the perfect moment to strike with devastating consequences.
Discipline enough to have, he got enough shock on his punch, but he knows how to set the punch up before he does it. He's patient enough to set it up before he does it. He looks at it a few times to make sure he got it. When you know he got it, boom, he get it. That's a real chess player in the boxing ring. That's the most deadly kind of guy in the world besides a Mike Tyson type guy in boxing. A guy that can play chess in that boxing ring is a killer, and that's what Tank can do.
Davis's agility is evident in his seamless combination of head movement and footwork, allowing him to slip punches and pivot out of harm's way. His extended jab not only keeps him at a safe distance, but also controls his opponent's positioning. Incorporating ladder drills and defensive shadow boxing into training can help athletes develop similar evasive skills and fluid movement. Besides legends of the past, Gervonta Davis also earns praise from active fighters across different weight classes. One example is the former light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol, who complimented Tank's skills, stating that he's far more technical than Ryan Garcia.
I think Gervonta Davis has more skills, to be honest, for me. Yeah. But it's an interesting fight because Ryan Garcia is popular.
And just like a king recognizes another king, a knockout artist knows another when they see one. When asked about his favorite boxer, Canelo Alvarez didn't hesitate. The Mexican powerhouse praised his fellow heavy hitter, calling him confident, strong, smart, and someone with plenty of tricks up his sleeve.
Favorite fighter to watch today, not from the Canelo stable?
I think Tank is one of my favorites.
What is it about him that you like so much? 'Cause I think you guys fight similar, have a similar style.
No, he's strong, he's smart, and he's very confident. A lot of things he have a lot.
Even Shakur Stevenson, despite being a rival and potential future opponent, couldn't deny how good Gervonta Davis is. He pointed to Davis's fight against Frank Martin, emphasizing how Tank made it look effortless. According to Shakur, Gervonta made Frank Martin look like an amateur, further proving just how far ahead Tank is compared to everyone else.
Nah, he's strategic. He's setting guys up. He's been boxing since a little kid, just like I've been boxing since a little kid. And you can tell, like, with the experience. Even with his last fight with Frank Martin, you can see Frank Martin was more so an amateur. Like, the experience he got is not on the level of, like, Tank. And he just took off with experience. He let him waste his energy, gassed him out, and then round 8, okay, it's time to go home.
Those are the thoughts of fighters, legends, and former champions on Gervonta Davis. But what about you, fight fans? What's your opinion on Tank? Where do you rate him on your pound-for-pound list? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.